So the journey and passion you've spoken about, David, brings us to the implementation of the NDIS, the biggest social reform in Australia since Medicare back in the 1970s. So when approaching the task as leading that change, how do you bring it down into bite-sized chunks that you can approach as a leader? Part
of it is driven by the fact that very few people's lives are untouched by disability, or family or friends or work colleague or the like. Partly it's driven, I think, by the traditional fair go value in Australia that people with disability, their families and carers deserve better than we've been delivering to them. I think the challenge for the NDIA in delivering this scheme is, however, to move it from one which is just about benevolence, it's just about recognising and providing for people's needs, to one in which it's recognising the value of people with disabilities contributing to society. And that's a long journey, and the starting point to that is to not only just make sure we deliver those core services well, but we deliver the vision of this scheme, which is building the capacity of people to live, to have more independence and greater management over their own lives.
So David, picking up on that theme, what advice or wisdom could you offer organisations such as Tipping in adjusting, in making the changes necessary?
The challenge for the providers is to step away from their own expertise, if you like. I accept a lot of people in this sector have been working in it for a very long time, and they have a level of knowledge and experience which is incredibly beneficial and needs to be maintained and built upon. But I also look at the service provider sector, and I see very few people with disability in the management or even in the service delivery. And unless that starts to change also, it will only always be vested in that existing paradigm, if you like. It's a clumsy word, but it's probably right, rather than to move into one in which the consumer's at the centre of it. Now, good providers are doing that, increasingly engaged, and I know there are many service providers who have people with disability on their boards and amongst senior managers, but it is not common across the broader sector.